Hey guys, it's me, Mike-S, and sorry there haven't been a lot of videos lately. Sorry, I just had dinner and as I'm recording this, a lot of stuff's getting stuck in my throat. Anyway, I wanted to talk about a game that's very near and dear to my heart, but not for the reasons that you would think. Man, this thing is really stuck in there. Anyway. Fine, you can put that, I guess, if you want. Anyway, so yeah, it's a game that's getting a lot of talk. It's being talked about a lot lately because of a terrible Steam port and, you know, people trying to fix it and everything. And my thoughts on modern Square Enix are for another video, but the game in question that we'll be talking about today is Chrono Trigger. Now, you have to understand, in a lot of modern-day stuff with older, quote-unquote, games, you know, people will always be quick to point the finger, oh, you're just saying that because you're nostalgia blind. And my story with Chrono Trigger is a very interesting one. I didn't play the original SNES version. You want to know why? It was made in 1995. I was born in 1994. I was 1 year old. I don't think a 1-year-old can play a SNES game on an actual SNES last I checked, but jury's out on that one, I guess. Anyway, no, my story with Chrono Trigger starts in 2008 at the time of the DS remake. For those not in the know, 2008 was a terrible, terrible year of my life. I was dealing with this teacher who did not understand, the various dynamics of my autism by life. Yes, I have autism, Asperger's syndrome, if you want to know. That's its own kind of deal. But yes, this teacher, I feel like, we got along later after I graduated from grade 8, but during that time, man, it was hell. I was dealing with raging hormones, had hardly any friends in grade school anymore. The people I thought were my friends were kind of being shady and picking on me quite a lot, which, you know, for any teenager is just great to work on. I was socially awkward still around the time of grade 8 as well, and terrible things happened to me that I'd rather not discuss. But anyway, around this time in 2008, Nintendo Power is still going strong. And, Brownie points to you, I guess, in the comments, if you remember that and feel like it makes you insert word here, I guess. I don't want to offend people. But anyway, so 2008 was a terrible year of my life, and in comes Chrono Trigger. Now, by 2008, the 3DS was... I don't think there was even news of the 3DS in 2008. The DS was here to stay, and that's all that we knew at the time. We had no idea what would come next. We had no idea about the 3DS or the Wii U or the Switch or whatever. No, it was just the time of the DS and the Wii. So they remake Chrono Trigger for the DS, and Nintendo Power is telling me, guys, this is a great game, you need to buy this again. They've updated Chrono Trigger, they've remade it, they were a Nintendo, magazine, so they didn't talk too much about anything that wasn't Nintendo, I'll just say that much. But I imagine that one of them would have said at one time, this version fixes the bugs of the PS1 version. In fact, my buddy Zach, shout out to you, Zach, if you're hearing this, by the way. My buddy Zach at my job was the one who told me, don't play the PS1 port of Chrono Trigger, it's terrible. Lengthy load times because there's cutscenes and everything. So then in comes Chrono Trigger on the DS with its cartridge, and they squeeze those things into like little FMV movie sequences that work fine on the DS card. I wonder how they did it as DS cards were on. Like, they had some great quality animations on DS cards. I'm just telling you, they did. The graphics weren't the best, but the animations were good if they were two-dimensional. Anyway, where am I going with this? So yeah, Chrono Trigger DS starts with this crazy cool anime opening. And yeah, side note, they say with cartridges that they load faster than CDs do. Probably why we see cartridges on the Vita, and probably why when the Wii U failed they used discs. Nintendo actually made the Switch, which from what I've observed, because I don't have a Switch, but from what I've observed, the Switch is kind of like Nintendo's better. I say that with air quotation marks because it's debatable, relatively, I guess. Depending on how you look at it, that's what I mean. Depending on how you look at it, it's debatable, but the Switch could be seen as Nintendo's better answer to... could be seen as Nintendo's better answer to the PlayStation Vita. Hold on a sec. But yeah, apparently cartridge loading times are much faster. So that's cool. But yeah, cartridges load faster. Anyway, back to my little emotional story. Chrono Trigger. Oh, if you've seen Pro Jared's video about it, he talks about how Chrono Trigger is actually not as long as you might think. Yeah, I think he said, like, Chrono Trigger is roughly, I forget his exact measurement, I think he said it's roughly, like, around 24 to 30 hours? Which, okay, you may think that's long, but hear me out. Take Xenoblade. I played Xenoblade Chronicles on the new 3DS. You get to right where the story sets up initial plot lines, and you're barely even halfway through the game. Like, the internet spoiled Xenoblade for me so much in the years since the Wii version, which is why I wanted to play the new 3DS XL version. But nonetheless, Xenoblade takes a long time to get to the point that it established at the start of the game. It takes a long time to do that. Chrono Trigger, you have one goal from a very early point in the game. defeat Lavos. Now, you don't know at the start of the game how you're going to defeat Lavos. All you know is that Lavos wrecks stuff in 1999. He blows up the world, so to speak, and destroys everything. And then you go to the future in Chrono Trigger, because it's a time travel RPG. You go to the future in Chrono Trigger, and it's this desolate wasteland, because Lavos has messed everything up. So, in Chrono Trigger, you try to go through these various different time periods, trying to right wrong things that went wrong, and eventually defeat Lavos. But that's on your first playthrough. The first playthrough, from what I understand, you can only get one or two endings. You can get the good ending, you defeat Lavos, or you can get the bad ending, you fail to defeat Lavos, time, history, and probably the universe is effed, and, basically, planet Earth go boom boom. And the canon, well, first, let's say, maybe not canon, it's not canon. The first bad ending of Chrono Trigger is literally has the words in like this disturbing font, shit's just into the fan, but the future refused to change. And like that's a terrifying bad end. Can you imagine a little kid playing that? Thankfully, I'll make a concession now. I actually haven't beaten Chrono Trigger. I know exactly how it ends. I could easily fight Lavos, but for some reason when I maxed out all my stats through an action replay, yes, I know why. Lavos just one-shots me every time. So, haven't played Chrono Trigger since. I thought that I need to do the side quests and defeat, that flying castle dungeon in the sky. I forget what it's called. The Black Omen. Someone told me that on your first playthrough of the game, you have to beat the Black Omen dungeon to stand a chance against Lavos. I don't know if that's true, but lately I just don't have enough free time to go through the Black Omen dungeon. And I've been playing more games like Hyperdimension Neptunia, like the whole series that you can get on the Vita, and that will be its own video. But yes, the thing I love about Chrono Trigger is that it's one of the best time travel RPGs out there. And like, how many RPGs can you say really have time travel? Oh, yes? Are you going to, random person or voice in my head, are you going to mention Ocarina of Time? Well, dear sir or madam, I have to say to you the following. Ocarina of Time is not a role-playing game. It's technically an action-adventure game. You want a role-playing action-adventure game in the Zelda franchise? Play Zelda 2. Oh wait, that's the Black Sheep. So if you only play the popular Zelda games, you probably would anyway. Ocarina of Time, the thing about it is that A, it's not an RPG, and second, you only travel in time between two periods, but Ocarina of Time will get its own video. No, Chrono Trigger, you travel through time from, allow me to think, what do they call that? Oh yeah, the time of the cavemen, the medieval ages, 1000 AD, like who even remembers 1000 AD? And, 1000 AD is its own little made-up thing in Chrono Trigger. Then you go to 1999, and you even go all the way to the future. I think it's like the year 2600? I could be wrong. You go all the way to the future of, far in the future, and the Earth is ruined, as we've discussed. And then, at some point in the game, you go to the magical kingdom of Zeal, where you find out where Lavos has been summoned by a deranged woman, who I think they said, actually is being controlled by Lavos. I don't know, it plays into Chrono Cross, I guess, and I never played that game. I actually have Chrono Cross, and I can play it on my PS3, but, details. Anyway, this is getting kind of long-winded, and I could probably try to re-end this. My point is, Chrono Trigger, you travel through all these times and experience all these characters, and plot lines and everything, and you can finish it pretty quick if you know what you're doing. And if you want to do the little before final boss side quests, it might take you longer, but you can actually beat the game in, like, maybe, let's say, a month? Yeah, I think that's a fair amount of time to say. You could probably, if you are really dedicated to doing so, beat Chrono Trigger in a month. Maybe not on your first time through, but if you play it over and over again, which, by the way, Chrono Trigger encourages replay value, if you play it over and over, you could probably beat it knowing its ins and outs in about a month if you set aside enough time to do so. And then, when you beat the game, when you beat the game, you then unlock what was a new option at the time of Chrono Trigger's original release, New Game Plus. Now, we take that for granted a lot of days, and I remember I was 1 year old in 1995. But, when you think about it, imagine how revolutionary that was at the time. Most RPGs were just, okay, you beat the game. Cool. Now move on to another game, please. I can tell you for sure that even games that I replayed a lot as a kid, like Pokemon Gold, which was my favorite game as a kid, they didn't offer you much when you beat it. So in comes Chrono Trigger, and I don't know which released first, Chrono Trigger or Pokemon Gold, but I'm going to assume... Oh yeah, Chrono Trigger 1995, Pokemon Gold 2000. Well, still, I never had a Super Nintendo growing up, and that's its own thing for its own time. But yeah, Chrono Trigger comes in with New Game Plus and gives you all these other ways to adapt to the game. And not only that, New Game Plus ties into the canon of the game, because now you've already beaten the game, and it doesn't get meta with it, but hear me out. You beat the game, and you can travel, at any point in the story, you can travel to the end of time. Yeah, there's an area in the game called the End of Time. and go into this thing called the bucket to fight Lavos wherever you are in the retooled story of the game. And based on when you defeat Lavos, through the bucket challenge at the end of time, yeah, like bucket challenge. Chrono Trigger invented it first. When you go through the bucket and beat Lavos before you're supposed to beat Lavos. Sorry, my mind's wandering. When you do that before you're supposed to beat Lavos, it changes the ending of the game. I think this video is getting very long, again I might have to edit it, but lastly, let me talk about the music. There's a reason why Chrono Trigger is loved so much beyond its story, beyond its gameplay, and beyond its characters. The music is phenomenal. Yasunori Mitsuda, if I remember correctly, and sorry if I mispronounced his name, he made music for some of the Xenosaga games. I think he even made music for Xenoblade Chronicles. He might have, if I remember correctly, contributed some music even to Smash 4 and/or Smash Bros. Brawl. Like, Yasunori Mitsuda is a big name within the name of video games. Almost right up there with, I don't know, Kaz will probably fill me in on this, but right up there with, Yuzo Koshiro, yeah, the guy who did the Streets of Rage music. Like, I would honestly put Yasunori Mitsuda up there as a great video game music composer, along with, Yuzo Koshiro. So I think on that note, there's a reason why people come back to tie this back to nostalgia. And see what I did there? To go back? Time pun? Anyway, to time, I'll stop, this back to nostalgia. I think there's a reason people keep going back to games like Streets of Rage and remaking them, or Super Mario 64, or Ocarina of Time, or the old Pokemon games, or even Chrono Trigger. I don't think it's just nostalgia talking. I think that these games people come back to are truly timeless experiences. Anyway, thank you for hearing me with my long ramblings, and peace out.